Hi Sagittarius, welcome to a 2020 tarot reading, and I found a spread on Pinterest. I want to give a shout out to tarot.com, and I'm going to lay out the cards and then I will tell you what each position means. You're the first sign that I'm doing this reading for. Sometimes when I'm looking for spread ideas, they always have there's one little quirk. In this particular spread, they have two past position cards or cards that are talking about last year, and I'm trying to figure out why. There might be, they don't really elaborate too much on it, so it's hard for me to know. So I might have to change. Like the first position is lessons from your previous year, and then the fifth position is lessons you learned last year. That's the same thing. So, maybe I'll, make the connection from last year to the advice, because it's the advice position. So, what you can take from those lessons and use to move forward. I'll figure it out, but I just wanted to state that because and obviously this is a general reading. It's for fun most of all. Well, kind of like philosophical fun. And I think that what it does is it gives us this idea about having a vision for ourselves. That's really the ultimate purpose of this, is not to just say, okay, it's another year, but to really think, hey, I can do things in the next 12 months that can totally change my life. I really can. And it doesn't, even if I'm over 30 or over 40 or over 50, it doesn't matter, or 60 or 70, it doesn't matter. I can still change. Oh, wow. There's two of them. Well, I'm going to put them both here. That's the third position. Fourth position. Stick that under there. Fifth. Sixth. It's up here. And the seventh. Oh, wow, this is interesting. See, I'm a Sun and Sag, Mercury and Sag individual myself, so while I was putting out those cards, I forgot about that. And I'm like, oh, cool. Then I realized this is me too. Okay. So the first position is called Sunset. Lessons from your previous year. Very interesting. Five of Cups, grieving the loss of something. So true for me. How about you? A loss doesn't mean that you broke up with somebody necessarily last year, although you could have. It could be the death of a dream that you had. And when I say dream, I'm not just talking about having goals. I'm talking about believing in someone who let you down for the last time. And actually, the lesson to me is to actually grieve it. And what I mean by that is that you're really feeling the depth of how that loss has affected you. And it's very important to note that I'm not talking about the death of a person if you are grieving a particular individual. I'm talking about it can be, but it can even more so be believing in somebody who you come to realize just didn't care about you. They may have given the appearance of doing so, but when you kind of sort through all of the facts, you realize that they just didn't do so. And usually, even having uttered that, it sounds like devastating, but when you understand that you are the source of your own love, it doesn't matter, these other people, because a lot of times these people are covered, they're clouded, they can't do it. They don't have it within themselves. So it's not any kind of indictment against you. It's really speaking of their own deficit or deficits. And some of this grief may have been a long time coming. If you were in a marriage and maybe there were some bright spots and some happy times, and then it would go back into the negativity. And it's just a seesaw back and forth. It can give you the illusion that ultimately you're going to make it, and then something may have happened in the past year that made you realize, no, even if you haven't yet made that a move to leave that relationship, that's all over but the shouting. And sometimes it might even be, it could be like a goal that you had hoped to achieve that you feel was maybe a bit unrealistic, or there were other factors that are making it hard. I read sometimes about those people who, and I'm talking about younger people who were going to be in the major leagues or, some other type of professional sports, and then they have an injury right away and they can't do it. I mean, even if they wanted to, and they have to grieve that loss. And I think, wow, that must be really hard to have that kind of dream and it just being totally crushed. But these things happen, and I believe they're happening for a reason, that's not just random. And I think that makes it easier to kind of navigate when you don't think it's just some kind of meaningless thing. Okay, the second position, horizon. What you can expect in the next year. Oh my God. Seven of Wands. This is what we have to look forward to. Seven of Wands is a card of kind of like a defensive posture, fighting back. Okay, so maybe in a sense, it's kind of like letting us know that if we want something, we have to defend our right to it. And that can show up differently for each person. If you have gone through relationship issues, and I'm sure some of us have definitely had at least one relationship that has been problematic, to me, this wands themselves, because we're fire, so we're connected to wands, but wands to me overall are like declaring our independence. Okay, and what this means is that if you're the type of Sagittarian who is more mellow, and there are things that would show up as probably like a moon in maybe Cancer or Pisces or Libra, and you're just kind of like, you don't want to make waves, you don't want there to be bad blood, you may have allowed a untenable situation to just fester. Okay, so that's going to look to you like you're going to have to begin to develop more assertiveness in your life. For somebody who is already like that, like I would say I'm more of the person who's already on the defensive, it's going to be, the number 7 relates to kind of like the solitude, the solitary, or the mystic or something, the artist. And so I would say that for those of us who are like that, we're going to channel our energy in creative projects, because we already have let people know where we stand. So there's nothing really else that we need to do. That's what I'm trying to get at. Is some of you may be at a place where you need to let people know, that you're not going to tolerate certain behaviors anymore. But if you're going to do that, you better be willing to back it up. You can't give false kind of ultimatums and that kind of thing. But not all of us are, in the same boat. So some of us need, wands are creativity. Wands are also, because it is fire, it's about independence. So, the more that you can stand in your own truth, and that's what this card is, stand your ground, okay? But we don't all have to stand our ground in the same way. Sometimes standing your ground means stop defending yourself. Actually, I read somewhere it said never defend yourself or something else, or explain yourself or something like that. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think that sometimes people just don't realize that they've crossed a boundary, and you need to let them know that. It's about giving people the benefit of the doubt. And also, I believe in communication. I don't believe that we just kind of like do whatever we want and don't ever explain ourselves. You don't have to come from a weakened background to explain yourself. I think that that's being, a good friend or a good partner. But if somebody's always trying to, get you into that position, why is that person in your life? And that could be another thing too, in a roundabout way, is to weed out the people who put you on the defensive from your life. And obviously I'm talking about that they're doing so unnecessarily. I'm not talking about somebody that's actually questioning a behavior of yours. If you're doing something that's self-destructive and somebody says, why do you drink so much? Why do you do this? That doesn't mean that they are trying to put you down. They might be genuinely concerned. So it's very dependent on the context. Okay. Oh, crap. I just went back to the former page. Let's see what else we got here. The third position. And you noticed when I was dealing out these cards, they were all in very unusual, sequence. So that's why I have to kind of navigate here. 3, obstacle. A challenge you'll face this year. See, look at this. This is like emotional stuff here. 3 of Swords. This is a card of heartbreak. So, I mean, I apologize. Oh, and I did get another card too. Okay, because this was the one where it came out together. And we have here the Queen of Cups. Oh boy. Yeah. This could be your mother, especially if your mother is a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that you have to just pull the plug altogether. If you have a really contentious relationship, you may have to just like let it go, because again, these are people. It can be a parent. I've been talking a lot about narcissism because I've been learning so much about it, and I want to share it with others. These people can give the appearance of caring because they know how much you want them to care about you. And this is not to demonize anybody, because I feel sorry for people that are that lost unto themselves. I really do, because I feel like they probably in some cases don't understand why they do half of what they do. So I'll take these separately. 3 of Swords, this is a card of feeling rejected, feeling unwanted. It's also, this is the obstacle card, so the 3 of Swords can be heart surgery. Again, don't take a general reading on YouTube seriously. Don't take anything that somebody else is telling you seriously. If you already have heart trouble, then that's almost a logical conclusion anyway. But one thing that I think that this card can really be speaking about is cutting things off very cleanly. In other words, to use the language of narcissism, there's like low contact, which some people engage in with people that they feel that they have to, because, like, for instance, family. They feel like, I can't just totally cut them out of my life, so I'm going to go low contact. And what you discover, I think more times than not, but, you know, be free to experiment, is that it doesn't work. Because when somebody is toxic, if you're getting poisoned 4 times a year or once a month, that's still getting poisoned. And what I discovered in my own life is that it was triggering or re-triggering trauma, okay? And, you know, the word trigger is used a lot to be very, kind of a put down. I've even used it myself that way, but I really see how it is the truth. So what happens is you can be triggered by those terrible messages, and it can stay with you a very long time. Excuse me, I'm still, in the aftermath of a cold. So just keep that in mind, because you may discover that you have to just cut it off completely. And it doesn't have to be a mother. It can be, maybe it's an in-law, your mother-in-law. Maybe, I'm combining these two cards. Perhaps it's somebody who is a friend, especially if they're a water sign. But let's take that Queen of Cups separately as a challenge. This can just be this is the sign of Cancer specifically. So there may be somebody who's a Cancer, especially an older Cancer woman, who may be the bane of your existence. No, that might have some kind of challenge with this person. Maybe it's the ex-spouse of your ex-wife of your current partner. Who knows? Okay. 4th card. How to harness your inner power. Oh, interesting. Kind of what I was thinking about earlier today. Ace of Cups. Now, the Ace of Cups, again, this is going to differ from situation to situation. If you, wait a minute, I have to plug in my thing, and if I don't, it's just going to cut off, and I don't want that to happen. I only have 4 minutes on this puppy. So, give me 1 second. I'll just pull it over. Pull it over. Come on, baby. Oh my gosh. I'm going to probably have to do this in 2 parts. See you later.